For those that don't know, obviously Alex Jones is how do you even describe Alex Jones? He's a right-wing conspiracist, lunatic, maybe?
Yeah, I think people can have their opinions on everyone, but Alex Jones is the one where no one can deny the guy is actually crazy.
Yeah. He's mainly known for two theories, which is the gay frog theory. So there's something in the water in Flint, Michigan, I think.
That was it. Yeah.
And the frogs drink it, and the frogs turn gay. And he also has the biggest thing that's like fucked him up majorly was the Sandy Hook hoax.
Yeah, that's so insane.
That was basically a school shooting that he just like denied for some reason.
Yeah, it was but it was young kid. It was like 27, I want to say. Young kids, like 3 and 4 and 5.
Yeah.
And he basically said the parents were like crisis actors. The whole thing was a setup to try and make guns illegal, and it actually led to people like digging up things, and it was horrific.
Because I know the families of the victims were harassed like
so badly
the decade that followed that shooting. And
so don't you think they fucking had to deal with enough? Jesus,
that's insane.
Crazy,
that's insane.
Crazy.
And there's just the idea that like I think that mainly fucked him up because he had to swallow a defamation lawsuit, which is seeking damages of $1.5 billion.
Say it was in the billions, wasn't it?
Yeah, $1.5 billion lawsuit.
I mean, come on though. Like that's for me. That Sandy, just very, very not to hone too much on this, but the Sandy Hook thing that was a real moment for me because I was like, okay, if that doesn't change America's mind, nothing ever will. That is an unspeakable tragedy.
Yeah,
and I understand that in times of tragedy, people, certain people come out of the work and say controversial things, but what. His statements were beyond controversial, and the specific event was so unique. I cannot deal with that horrific human being.
I mean, obviously, after the lawsuit entailed, I think the lawsuit has been resolved by now. Alex Jones and I guess his show by proxy had to obviously file bankruptcy multiple times. The show just essentially crumbled. Like, there is just no money. He became so radioactive that like. Just your association with him fucks you over in the long run, aka Kanye West. Why the fuck did Kanye West go on Infowars, bro? That is like...
Also, good way of putting it, by the way, radioactive. I like that. That's a really good way of putting it, because it's like, it literally is just everything around them just turns to pure dust. Yeah, not good. Yeah. I like that.
And I think a lot of times people the masses try and make certain individuals radioactive. Like... I guess this is something to do with like cancel culture as well. So like it's the idea that like this massive amount of people want to like cancel that person. So the idea is to make them radioactive so that they can't like interact with anybody else. I.e. like think maybe like Joe Rogan in the middle of COVID, like he was made so radioactive that like just association with him or like listening to Joe Rogan made you look like what's wrong with you kind of thing.
Now he's right back where he barely even had a dent, really. Did he?
But he's one of the exceptions, I think. Like he just like transcends, I guess, cancel culture, maybe.
Yeah, it's a weird one because I think there are two sides to cancel culture. There's the one where this is a really weird example, right? But on the one hand, I'm a big believer that if you do something wrong, obviously you should be called out. Alex Jones, of course. Then on the other hand, I remember this is quite an obscure example, so I don't know if you'll know this, but about 10 years ago. There was this amazing thing where someone like landed a probe on a comet, right? It was like an insane technological scientific achievement, right? It was unbelievable. And as you know, a lot of the people who work, men and women who work in that sphere, well, they are by definition, they're geniuses. So a lot of them are also nerdy, right? And a lot of them, instead of this kind of like, pristine white lab coat that we used to scientists wearing, they wear all sorts of things. And this guy, who was basically, I don't know if he was in charge of the mission, but he played a crucial role in doing it, and he was on TV talking about the probe that he landed on a comet, which is insane, and managed to get all sorts of data. It was incredible. And when he was on TV, there was he was wearing this really funky shirt, and it had some women with their breasts out, but like cartoon, right? Yeah. And like he was vilified, and he had to make a public apology, and he was like crying, and I was like, okay, let's have some perspective here. Right. Should he have worn the T-shirt? No.
Yeah.
Should people say to him, hey, don't wear that T-shirt? Yes. Should this man have been like put through the mill after just doing an insane scientific achievement,
Yeah.
and I was gutted
Yeah.
for him. I really was.
Yeah.
But as I say, he should not have worn it.
Yeah.
But the fact that became his legacy rather than what he achieved scientifically was crazy.
Yeah, it's really scary how easy things like that can just like take on a life of its own.
Yeah,
bro, it's really sad. But back to Alex Jones and his fucking show. So The Onion acquired it. I don't know for how much, probably a couple dollars, but at this point, I mean, the show isn't worth that much. Just personally saying so. And I don't know what the play is here, because I mean, if The Onion is like this like satirical news network website thing, why did they take on the most like conspiratorial show on the internet ever?
Oh, mate, I mean, there's a couple of reasons. For me, it's like, say, for example, when, I mean, it's quite topical. Obviously, I watched Gladiator 2 last night. But say when the Roman Empire takes a town, right?
Yeah.
And they go into the room of whoever was in charge of that town, and they like sit on his throne and then like put on his like helmet with his like it's like
Big
that.
ego, yeah.
So it's like The Onion, who represents a lot of the liberal world, because it's a smart, funny way of skewering people on the right.
Yeah.
And they basically said, hey, that little like some of your gold, some of your like most prized possession, Infowars, will have that. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So it's more a statement than
Yeah.
anything else, but also amazing publicity for The Onion.
For sure.
I don't know this part, but I imagine there's also some sort of strategic commercial advantage. Like, do they have access to the data that Infowars had, to the assets Infowars had? I don't know. And the final thing I will say, I imagine that whoever the administrators are who are responsible for like selling Infowars and carving up Alex Jones' empire to stave off $1 billion debt or whatever it is, they probably got it at a knockdown price as well. Yeah, really did.
Heavily discounted.
Definitely.
Yeah. I'd be surprised if Alex Jones didn't pay for them to get. I don't know.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, but it's gonna be interesting how they like. I don't know what the play is here, like how they like rebrand the show, because I think the show has a lot of work to do. I think turning it from a conspiracy right wing borderline insane show to like a satirical, almost SNL-ish type show.
Yes,
it's gonna be rough. I don't think it's gonna be an easy like transition.
I totally agree with you, and I think what's interesting is particularly after the whole Trump thing, the Trump victory.
Yeah.
A lot of people said, well, you know what, the right wing, the conspiracy theorists, and whatever you want to call people, racist, however you want to frame them, right? These people have things like Andrew Tate, Infowars, Joe Rogan, whereas on the left, there is no equivalent. There's no one who is shouting from the rooftops about, well, there are people who are shouting from the rooftops about how good liberals are, but not for young men.
No.
Not for young men. So for young men, there's a vacuum. And if you're a young man and you're confused, you're naturally going to gravitate towards that. That's what happens. So I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
The Onion have done it.
Yeah. I think it's going to be really interesting how they transition. I mean, if they land it, it's going to be one of the smartest fucking transitions ever.
Agreed.
I think, if they turn the show into like a satirical, left-leaning type show, I don't know if Alex Jones would still be the host. I don't know.
No way. No.
They just took the show off him.
Yeah.
And now Alex Jones is in obscurity. Oh, man.
Wow.
But I think I don't know. The fact that they have like now this big name is one thing, but like turning it into what they want is gonna be.
But then part of me thinks, will they even do that? They may have just bought it
It's
as
just a
an
power
asset.
move?
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
I'm not even joking, right? They might just have it as an asset and just sort of leave it at that. But we will see.
Yeah,
we will see.
I think there's something in like buying, not like, I don't know if this is the best example, but there's something in buying like old legacy type names and just like rebranding it.
Yeah.
Like if somebody bought BuzzFeed right now. And just like rebranded it to some other thing. Like I think there's something in that.
Definitely.
There's-
But like exactly as you said though, it's all in the execution. It's all in how they do it and if they can do it. But boy, oh boy, I'm excited to see how that goes. I really am.
Yeah, I think I mean, again, we spoke on this last week. The whole idea of like humor is like the top thing that like disarms audiences and stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
And especially like in this like political climate, like. You need humor.
Yeah,
you need
do.
humor.
You're so right, bro. You really do. Everything's just become so aggressive and febrile. We all need a laugh. You're absolutely right.